All right, this is the 8-6 notes over law of sines and cosines. Now, this is going to be a little bit longer, so just make sure that you have plenty of time to go through this, okay? So, what we want to do here with this first one is it says the law of sines. If any triangle, or in any triangle, there's a special relationship between the angles of the triangle and the lengths of the sides opposite the angles. We use the law of sines if, we're going to write here, okay, if you have two angles, so two angles and a side, okay, so two angles and a side, and that's pretty much all we're going to use for this one, is just for two angles and a side. Okay, so law of sines. Go ahead and give you your formula. So law of sines say you have, let me do a different color. You have your side A over the sine of angle A is equal to the side B over the sine of capitalized angle B, which is equal to side C over sine of angle capitalized C. It's just a proportion. That's all you have to do on these. So there we go. Example 1, it says find B, round to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to go ahead and look at what I know. So what I know is that here is angle C and here's little c. So here's little c and big C is already there for my angle. And then the other one that I have is I have little b that I'm trying to find, and I have the angle for B. So what we're going to do here, I don't know little b, so I'm going to keep it there. I do know the angle of B, that's 74 degrees. Okay. That's going to be equal to, C is 30 over sine of 45 degrees, because that's what angle C is equal to. Now we're going to cross multiply, so I'm going to show my work. B times sine of 45 degrees is equal to 30 times sine of 74 degrees. So you have to divide both sides by this sine of 45. And I forgot to put parentheses around my 74. Okay, so we know that these are going to cancel out. And so you will get B is equal to, when you type in your calculator, 30 times your sine of 74 divided by sine of 45. Round it to the nearest tenth, it'll come out to 40.8. And there's no units on my triangle, so that's why I don't have units on my answer. Okay, next one, example number 2, we're going to find D. So again, I'm going to look at what I have. First, I know I have angle D, and I know I've got to find little d. And then I have this side here for 24, but what I don't know is I don't know the angle in here. Well, I can figure that out because there's 180 degrees in a triangle. So 180 minus 82 minus 40, that will get me 58 degrees. So this will be 58 degrees. So now I can set up my proportion. So for this one, I know that 24, so your sides always go on top, the lengths of your sides go on top. 24 goes with my sine of 58 degrees, and that's equal to, I'm looking for the side, that's letter D, and I have sine of 82 degrees. Okay, so now we're just going to cross multiply. So we have 24 times sine of 82 degrees is equal to sine of 58 degrees times D. You have to divide both sides by that sine of 58. Okay, so we know these cross out. So we know that we will get D is equal to whatever you get when you multiply 24 and sine of 82. Divide that by sine of 58. And whenever you do that and round to the nearest tenth, it will come out to 28.0. Okay, so we have 4 more that we're going to do with the law of sines, and then we're going to get to law of cosines. Okay, so again, just identify what you know. So I see I have 40 degrees here, and that's going to match up with my side of 12. And then I see that I have 80 degrees here, and that's going to match up with my sine of x. So we have 12 over the sine of 40 is equal to x over the sine of 80. So when I cross multiply, we get 12 times sine of 80 is equal to x times your sine of 40. Divide both sides by that sine of 40 to get x by itself. Okay, so we know that these cross off. And then all you have to do is use your calculator. Now again, make sure your calculator is in degree mode, that way your answers come out okay. But when you do 12 times sine of 80 and divide it by sine of 40, round it to the nearest tenth, you should get 18.4. And again, there are no units on my triangle, so that's why this has no units for my answer. Alright, number 2. So number 2, I see I have 52 degrees here to match up with my x. Okay, and then I see I have 20 degrees, a length of 20 over here, but I don't know what my degrees are. So for this, you're going to have to do the 180 minus your 52 minus your 91, and you will see that you have 37 degrees left. So this is going to be 37 degrees. Okay, so that will match up with that. So now I can go ahead and do my proportion. So we have the length of x over the sine of 52 is equal to my length of 20 over the sine of 37. And now we're going to go ahead and cross multiply. So I'm going to get x times, x times, no, I don't want that color. There we go. Okay, so we're going to get x times the sine of 37 degrees is equal to 20 times the sine of 52 degrees. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to divide both sides by the sine of 37 to get x by itself. So those cross out, and we now know that x is equal to whatever we get when we do 20 times sine of 52, divide that by the sine of 37, and whenever you do that, you will get 26.2. Again, there's no units on my triangle, so there's no units in my answer. Okay, next one, number 3. So here for number 3, again, I'm going to identify what I know. So across my 60, I have x, and then I see here that I have 35, and then across from that, I need that angle. Okay, do not assume that it's just a 90-degree angle. We're going to subtract 180 minus 60 minus 35, and whenever you do that, you will get 85 degrees. So this is 85. So I know that's going to match up with my 35. Okay, so now we can go ahead and set up our proportion. So we know the length of x goes with sine of 60. And we know that 35 goes with sine of 85. All right, now we're going to go ahead and cross multiply. So I have x times sine of 85 is equal to 35 times sine of 60. And I got to divide by that sine of 85. Because that gets rid of those. So now I can figure out what x is equal to. So 35 times sine of 60 divided by sine of 85. Make sure again your calculator is in degrees. We're rounding to the nearest tenth, so that will give us 30.4. Okay, last one for sines, and then I'm going to do another video on the cosine laws. So this one, we have 72 degrees matches up with the side length of 25, and we have 17 degrees matches up with my side length of x. So we have 25 goes with sine of 72 degrees. And we have my sine length of x that I gotta find goes with the sine of 17 degrees. So we're going to cross multiply. So we have 25 times sine of 17 degrees is equal to x times the sine of 72 degrees. To get x by itself, divide both sides by that sine of 72. And when you do that, that missing length of x, these cross out. So whenever you type in 25 times the sine of 17 divided by the sine of 72, around to the nearest tenth, you should get 7.7. Alright, so that is it for the law of sines. So I'm going to go ahead and make two videos, one for sines and one for cosines. So we'll go ahead and stop with this one for right now, and then we'll do the second part in the other video.